Hello, everyone. Sufit here. So it is summertime, baby, and the living is easy. And our guest today is Chuck Ticker of SiblingEstateDisputes.com. Welcome, Chuck.
Thank you, Sophie. Great to be here.
So I wanted to take today to make kind of a part two. You did a recent video where we talked about some of the problems that happen with cottages in estate disputes between siblings. And one video just wasn't enough to talk about all the problems because unfortunately this area is fraught with problems. So I want to ask you about a few things that we just didn't have time to cover. Would that be okay?
Sure.
All right. So I'm thinking of a situation where, again, I'll use the same situation like last time. Annie gets left the cottage and Bob gets left some money. But in this case, Bob has put some, and let's say those are equivalent at the time. So the cottage is worth 1 million, Bob gets 1 million, and taxes aside, you dealt with that in the last video. But let's say Bob, the second kid, has put some serious money into that cottage or some serious time making renovations. Maybe he added 3 extra bedrooms facing the lake.
Hmm.
And then in the end, Andy gets the cottage. Like, is that going to cause a problem?
Um, Most likely, yes, because why would Bob be doing this? And certainly you would have the expectation that he's going to possibly inherit this cottage or get something out of it. And yeah, that's going to cause some problems. But Bob is not going to be. If he brings a claim, based on constructive trust principles or whatever for an ownership of that cottage, or based on a promise that he says dad or mom made to him, he's still going to have an issue because I've seen this at mediations because the other siblings will say, "Oh, yeah, you put some money into the cottage, but uh, you know." That cottage rents for $2,000 to $3,000 a week, and you stayed there for 5 weeks. You didn't pay any rent, so that was your rent. You contributed to the cottage. Now, if something structurally like building bedrooms, um, I've seen that being turned around and say, "Well, prove it. Where are the receipts? We think Dad paid for the material. How do we know you did it? How do we, if
Okay.
siblings want to fight, you're going to find a way to fight."
Right, right. Okay, so you brought up a whole bunch of other issues that are even beyond that. So, questions of proof, questions of whether the guy was staying there, and really that should be weighed against whatever he contributed. Um, well, let's go there then. Okay, let's take that one step further. What if um one of the siblings, maybe there are more than two siblings. What if, so we'll let go of Annie and Bob for a minute. Let's say there are three siblings and the cottage is left equally to all three, but the baby sibling is living there, right? Just kind of camped out with his knapsack and his little oven thing, and he's just not leaving.
Mhm.
What would they end up in court? Would they end up at mediation? What are the issues? Or can the executor just boot him out and say, no, we're selling this?
Yeah, and I've seen similar scenarios that do come up, and in terms of like who has exclusive possession of the cottage, it could be the other siblings aren't using it or stop using it, and one sibling is using it. The problem once again arises if there's been no discussion about what happens while the parents are alive, or if there's nothing in the will. Um, and once again, if the will leaves it equally to all three siblings, the siblings there is going to say maybe, because I've seen this, I was promised this because I did X, Y, and Z for parents, or I helped build this cottage, or I helped cut the grass, or build the dock. It's the same sort of thing.
Or I
Um,
took care of mom when she broke her leg for a year
and she
and
promised me I could have the cottage. And once again, these are all things that goes to a matter of evidence and proof, right? And it has to be corroborated. So, but it doesn't stop people from fighting because it's so emotional that even if you tell them, how are you going to prove this in court? You're going to need X, Y, and Z, and you're going to need someone to back it up. They don't care. All they know is, I want that cottage. And it's the heart takes over the brain, so to speak. So that's what make these issues so difficult to deal with at mediation.
So Chuck, you're a mediator. Do you see these kinds of disputes often?
Oh, yes, as I was saying, I mean, not exact scenarios, but very similar fact situations will often appear before me as mediator. And the point I was trying to make is, as a mediator, you're trying to tell the parties in a nice way, or sometimes in a little more direct way, the strengths and weaknesses of their case. And even you point out, you got a very weak case here. You're not going to get to keep this cottage, I don't think. You may want to try and negotiate some, and they just believe, no, no, this is my this is my right. This is what I was promised, and they won't listen to reason because it's such an emotionally charged asset,
And
and
let's
that's what happens
sorry,
at
go ahead.
these mediations.
Yeah, yeah. So let's stick the issue of promise aside. Let's say neither of the parties is claiming, or none of the parties is claiming that anyone promised anything. What if just there's one asset, it's a cottage, it's left equally to the two siblings. One of the siblings said, "That's great. You can have 6 months. I'll have 6 months. You can get to choose, which half of the pie you want. Would you want summer, you want winter? That's fine with me." And the other one says, "Are you kidding me? We're selling this. Like it's worth
Right,
money. The market's up right now." What would you say to
right,
that
and
as a mediator?
right, and that's the situation where you have two siblings who have a different level of attachment to that cottage. For one sibling, like you said, they're prepared to compromise. What sounds like a very reasonable compromise. We'll just split the costs and split the timeshare of using that cottage. And the other sibling's not interested. They just want it sold. And then what I've seen is the other sibling says, "Okay, I'll put a mortgage on my house and I'll buy you out." And then they say, "No, we don't want you buying it out. We want to put it on the open market because we think you're lowballing us and we think we can get more. And if you want, you can bid on the open market." And the other sibling is saying, "Well, I no, I think let's get it appraised. I think I'm giving it so a fair price." So yes, I've seen lots of disputes about that. And and it's particularly problematic when there's no mechanism set out in the will or the estate plan how to deal with that asset, should there be a dispute. So that's where the challenge is.
So summertime and the living isn't always easy. That's what I'm hearing from you.
Not always easy.
Our
Sometimes it's tough
guest
slugging, yeah.
Our guest today has been Chuck Ticker of siblingestatedisputes.com. Don't forget to hit like on this video, to subscribe, leave a comment. Chuck, thank you very much.
Thanks. And I think I'm going to go fishing. Have a good one.